unexpected call. Once upon a time, there was a day in Sarah's ordinary life. She lived in her small, modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood. Sarah, in her 20s, taught literature at a local high school. She had a great passion for books and literature, and often found herself diving into the world of novels and poetry. She found an escape in books from her calm reality. While Sarah was sipping her tea on her balcony overlooking the garden, her phone suddenly rang. She looked at the strange number and hesitated before deciding to answer. "Hello," she said in her calm voice. No response came. She repeated, "Hello," and heard a hesitant young man's voice. "Sorry, isn't this Eric's number?" Sarah answered firmly, "No, it seems you have the wrong number." The young man hurried to apologize, but Sarah interrupted him with a slight smile. Although he couldn't see her, no need for all these apologies. A simple, however, there was a tone of sadness in Sarah's voice that she couldn't hide. The young man felt it and suddenly asked, "What's your name?" She was surprised by the question and replied sharply, "What's it to you? I'm just a passerby in your path." She quickly ended the call, but John, the young man on the other end, couldn't get her voice out of his mind. There was something special about their conversation. Days passed, and John couldn't stop thinking about that mysterious girl. He decided to send her a text message via WhatsApp. "Sorry for the inconvenience, but I would like to get to know you. Is that possible?" Sarah ignored the message completely. John waited a whole day without receiving a response, then sent again. "Good evening." She ignored him again. This continued for a week, with him sending morning and evening greetings daily without a response. Not losing hope, he sent a different message. "Your voice holds something special, as if fate gave me this wrong call to get to know you." Sarah was astonished and impressed by his persistence. She finally replied, "I think you're a fool. Sending messages to a girl you don't know who she could be. I could be married or as old as your grandmother." John laughed when he read the reply and quickly sent back, "And I think you're stingy in returning greetings, despite all these messages." Sarah's curiosity was piqued by his talk and style. She decided to respond again, writing, "If you're serious and sincere in your words, it's fine to get to know each other, provided you maintain decorum." John felt immense joy when he read her message. They began talking daily through phone and messages, discussing their lives, dreams, and thoughts. John was a successful accountant at a large company, looking for a life partner who understood and shared his dreams. Sarah, on the other hand, was a literature teacher living a quiet life full of books and simple dreams. Sarah started sharing small details about her daily life with John, about her students at school, the novels she read, and her thoughts about life. She found in their conversations a kind of reassurance she hadn't felt in a long time. In return, John shared his future projects and ambitions for building a stable and successful life. As days went by, Sarah and John's relationship grew stronger. John suggested they meet in person at a public place to have a face-to-face conversation. Sarah agreed hesitantly, and they set a date at a public park. On the appointed day, Sarah arrived at the park wearing a white dress adorned with flowers and a simple scarf. Her face was radiant despite the shyness. John, on the other hand, was waiting eagerly, dressed in a blue shirt and formal pants. When she approached, he stood with a wide smile and extended his hand to greet her. Their first meeting was filled with interesting conversation and warm emotions. They discovered that they shared many values and goals. After the meeting, John decided to propose formally. The engagement took place shortly after, following introductions and discussions between their families about the future. Sarah was happy with John and felt she had finally found someone who understood her. John, on the other hand, felt like he was living a beautiful dream. With John's busy work schedule and frequent travels, the phone became their primary means of communication. Sarah always joked, saying, "If you die, John, please have the phone buried with me. It's the essence of our souls." He would laugh at first, but soon get angry and say, "Don't mention death. I never want to lose you." Despite his objections to mentioning death, Sarah would repeat the joke from time to time. One day, Sarah went shopping with her mother in preparation for the wedding. As they crossed the street, a speeding car suddenly appeared. The driver tried to stop, but she fell unconscious to the ground. Bystanders and her mother rushed to help, and she was taken to the hospital. After hours of examinations, doctors announced that Sarah had suffered a heart attack that took her life. The shock was immense for her family. Her family refused to inform John directly, fearing he would collapse. The funeral was prepared, and Sarah was buried the same day. Meanwhile, John was trying to call her repeatedly, but her phone was off. John returned from his trip and learned the news from his sister after much insistence. He was in great shock and ran quickly to the cemetery, crying bitterly and shouting, "Why did you hide this from me? Why didn't you give me a chance to say goodbye?" As he held his phone and looked at her photos, something unexpected happened. The phone rang, and Sarah's name appeared on the screen. John shouted loudly, "She's calling me. It's Sarah." No one believed him and thought he had lost his mind, but he insisted and put the phone on speaker. Sarah's faint and troubled voice said, "John, where am I? I'm suffocating. The darkness scares me." People gathered around, and voices of prayers and takbir, praise of God, began to rise. The men decided to exhume the grave to make sure. When they opened the coffin, Sarah was moving with difficulty. She was quickly taken to the hospital. It turned out she had been in a deep coma, not truly dead. It took weeks of treatment for her to fully recover. Their story became the talk of the town. Everyone spoke of the phone's prophecy that saved Sarah from being buried alive, and the great love that brought her and John together. But the story didn't end there. After Sarah's recovery, she began to feel fear and anxiety about everything around her. She would wake up at night in panic, experiencing nightmares and living in constant tension. John was never far from her, trying his best to comfort her. He decided to take her on a trip to the countryside, where the fresh air and nature might help calm her down. In the countryside, everything seemed better. Sarah enjoyed walking in the woods, listening to the birds, and contemplating the beauty of nature. She began to feel inner peace again. But one night, While they were walking under the stars, she said to him, "John, I feel that together we can overcome anything." They returned to the city, and Sarah went back to her work. Life seemed better, but it wasn't without challenges. Sarah needed constant support and understanding from John. However, their love was stronger than any obstacle. One day, while Sarah was reading a novel on her balcony, her phone rang again. The number was strange. She hesitated before answering but decided to pick up eventually. "Hello," came a woman's voice from the other end, sounding distressed. "Is Sarah okay? My name is Laura, an old friend of hers, and we lost touch for a while. I heard about what happened and wanted to check on her." Sarah took a deep breath and said, "Yes, I'm okay now. It was a tough period, but with John's support and my family's, I managed to get through a lot." Laura and Sarah talked for a long time, and Sarah recalled some beautiful memories from the past. That call was beneficial for Sarah, making her feel she wasn't alone and that there were friends who cared about her. As Sarah resumed her normal life, she decided to start a new project reflecting her experience. She decided to write a book about her story and experience with life and death, hoping it would inspire others going through similar difficulties. Sarah began writing every day after work, finding in writing a form of therapy. She wrote about everything she had gone through, about the pain and fear, and about the love and support she received. John supported her in her project, reading every chapter she wrote and giving her feedback. Over time, Sarah and John's story became a popular topic in the town. Media outlets started talking about their story, and they received invitations to participate in TV and radio programs. Sarah decided to participate in one of the programs to share her experience directly with the audience. In the program, Sarah spoke about the power of love and support in overcoming difficulties. Her words inspired many people. After the episode, she received messages from people expressing their gratitude and thanks for sharing her story. During this period, Sarah and John decided to renew their wedding vows and host a large celebration bringing together family, friends, and everyone affected by their story. The celebration was filled with joy and happiness, with everyone witnessing the power of love and determination that brought them together. As their lives continued, they decided to have a role in the community. They began organizing seminars and workshops to support people going through tough times, offering advice and moral support to those in need. Sarah and John became known in the community as inspiring individuals reflecting the power of will and dedication. In this way, the love and support between Sarah and John continued, becoming a symbol of hope and strength in facing challenges. And so my story ends. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to receive all that is new. Have a nice day.